It's gonna be loud. Okay.
I know it's super loud for you, so I just want to work. Wait, keep going.
So what's the likelihood of you winning the lottery, Isaac?
I don't even want to know. Super low.
Right?
A
You
lot
have
of
a better
zeros.
chance. You have a better chance of your dresser falling on you and killing you than win the lottery.
Yeah.
So when you focus on quick sale tactics and you focus on chasing the next dollar, not only is it not sustainable long term, you're basically playing the lottery. That's what I believe other marketing agencies are doing. They got really good at hustling. Let's hustle, 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 hustle. But people don't like to be hustled. I don't like to be hustled. And also, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say somebody hustled me. I'm happy.
Yeah,
That
so
doesn't
so
that
you're
doesn't
saying
happen.
they're pursuing the quick little low-hanging fruit essentially.
Low
And
hanging fruit.
but
Yes.
they're not establishing a foundation. It reminds me of the thing like if you catch a man fish and give it to him, he can eat once. But if you teach him how to fish, then he can eat however, like forever, pretty much. And I think it's kind of the same implementation that you're saying into our business
Yeah.
is we're helping them build that foundation. So even if they decide to not be with us, they at least know what they need to like that,
Yeah.
continue that sustainability and
Yeah.
growth.
I will say that what we're focused on isn't making a dollar. Of course, we're a business and we want to make a profit because we need to live, and that's what's going to come. But our strategy, since we're talking about strategy, our strategy isn't to go out and find as many businesses as possible and stack them, get them paying us, and then hope that we don't lose half of them. Our strategy is go one person at a time, create a relationship with the businesses that is built on a foundation of trust, consistency, meaning we're consistent in what we're saying and we're consistent in what we are promising, and then also loyalty, right? And the type of loyalty we want to build is one that says that we know there's other agencies out in the world, but we're not even going to look at them because we are loyal to you. That's a good foundation to build, right? If you're hustling people, people are going to notice that eventually. But if you're a trustworthy, consistent, and somebody can be loyal to you, then that's a whole different foundation, right? But in order to do that, you need to do work that is worth talking about, right? You need to do something that's meaningful, right? And doing something meaningful is hard because the easiest things to do are I'm not sure this is a scumbag a bad word? Can I use that?
Yeah.
So like doing scumbag things, like it's easier to lie than tell the truth. It's easier to steal than actually go work for it, right? So what we do for local, what we do for the businesses that choose to work with us is number one, we're trying to make it we're trying to make it easier for you, or no, scratch that. We're trying to simplify it for you, but we're not trying to make it easy because it's hard work, right? It's hard
Yeah.
work, right? Just like runners. The best runner in the world can run with ease and he can glide and run down the street, but it's still effort. You have to give effort. It's all effort. There's nothing easy about it. But just because it's not easy doesn't mean you can't simplify it.
Yeah.
You can, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we're trying to do is simplify this marketing strategy that says that, you know, we aren't relying on well, we can't rely on the foundation that we've built on hustle and chasing the next sale over and over because it's tiring. I can imagine how tiring that is. Not knowing if you're going to make this much next month or you're going to make this much next month. It's that must be very frustrating.
Especially if you have others depending on you and relying on you in
Exactly.
that situation.
Exactly. So the idea is how can you build a solid foundation that says that we're not here to hustle you or take your money. We're here to provide value to you so that at least whatever you get, it solves a problem for you. And if nobody is a salesperson listening to this, like the person listening to this on the other side of the screen, if you're not a salesperson, the secret to sales is not selling me something that I don't need. It's not telling me it's the best thing in the world. Because at this very moment in life and time, if you have the ability to watch this right now, you have more means than the last king of France. So we don't live in a world of lack. We don't lack much, right? We don't lack great food. We don't lack, I don't even know another example, but we don't
Just a
lack things.
lot. Yeah.
We don't live in a state of lack. We're not lacking a lot of things. So if I'm gonna use a restaurant as an example, if you're a restaurant and you say something like, "We have the best food in the world," well, I can get good food at McDonald's too, and they're cheaper, right? I'm not saying play that game, right? Don't play a game of who's cheaper. That's a bad game, and you're gonna lose. You don't want to win that game, right? That's a race to the bottom. But what I am saying is that we don't there aren't things in this world that we really need. So you need to reach people with more than just we have the best this. And the likelihood of you having the best that thing, the best service or the best food, the likelihood of that being you is like you saying that you're going to win a lottery when you buy your next what do you call it? Your
Mueller.
next your next ticket. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
your next lottery ticket. Because the likelihood of you win the lottery, you might win it, but it's most likely not going to be you, right? So in saying that you have the best something, the best product or best service, that's not a good game to play. But you can say that we stand for something, meaning we do things a certain way over here, and if this is something that you're willing to do, then you're in the right place, right? So for us, what differentiates us is we believe that the basics, the fundamentals, is a great way to start your foundation. It's not saying you only have to do the fundamentals, because what we're trying to build is something that gets better over time, but we're trying to start people at the basics. So what is the basic of a good business?
And
I
Kelly, before you go on, because this is exactly what this podcast and this episode 1 is gonna be about. I think this is a great way we can just real quick pause that, say, hey, let's introduce ourselves real quick and just keep on going with that train. So real quick, guys, thank you for tuning in. I mean, you've already heard a lot. We're just gonna quickly introduce ourselves. So again, my name is Isaac Wienen. I'm the co-founder slash CMO of Atito Strategies. And then Kelly, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. My name is Kelly Itito. I am the founder of Itito Strategies, and I don't know. Was I supposed to say something else?
I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything else. Um, but yeah, so Kelly, you were kind of going right into the avenue we were headed towards, anyways. And that's, I mean, this episode is about proud to do the basics. And when we were thinking on like, okay, what should the first episode be? Like, we're gonna go over our introduction, like what we do, why we started our journey, and you already heard a little bit about what we do, or kind of a lot of it, right? But I thought, why not instill our most basic value and our most fundamental value that we want to give our clients and that we believe is probably the most important values, right? And make that the very first podcast. It's kind of like our foundation for the podcast, right? Everything's going to be built from here.
Yeah.
So why not start at the basics? So this is proud to do the basics.
So this is our basics.
Yeah, I mean, this is our basics, and we can also kind of defend why we think the basics are the way to go to at least
Yeah.
pursue the basics first.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I guess let's start with what is the basics, right? The basics in our the basics that we're mentioning is trust, consistency, and loyalty. And before I go on with that, I think it's fair to say that people buy from people they trust.
Yeah.
People buy from people they trust. If that's what we're going to focus on, which I think we should focus on it, and you agree that people buy from people they trust, then we believe that at its core, what you should begin to do as either a new business owner, even or even
Established.
a
Yeah.
veteran established business in the game already, right? Doesn't matter how long you've been. If you haven't been doing it, we believe that you should start to build a foundation built on trust with your customers, consistency on your part to be a business of your word. Whatever you say you're going to do, you do it. And you do it as consistent as possible. You show up and you do what you say you're going to do. And then lastly, built on loyalty. And that loyalty is as simple as rewarding your customers or your loyal customers for uh, for for shopping with you
Yeah.
or whatever it is, whatever the business is, right? Whatever, if it's either a product or a service, for being there and being present, reward them because
Yeah.
people like to be rewarded in that manner. So yeah, that's
Because
our
in yeah, in turn, I mean, at the core of every business, what does it come down to? I mean, it's the customers, right? You can't have a business if you have no customers.
yeah,
And so those that is what you're trying to constantly pursue, right? And if you don't follow, and the reason we believe in these basics, as Kelly was saying, is if you don't establish these as at least a fundamental baseline of your business, if people don't trust you, if you're not consistent in what you do, right?
yeah,
Then that won't inspire loyalty, right? And you won't even have the basics to even uphold a business, right? And then so I think that's when we say the basics, these are what we kind of es- established as okay, this is what every single business, no matter what, you need
yeah,
to have. Yeah.
yeah. And we call that the TCL framework, right? And what the TCL framework asks is whenever you make a decision and whenever you're trying to establish a new campaign, you have to ask, does this build trust? Or is it going to build trust? Are people going to trust us if we do this?
Also, will you
And,
lose trust? I think is an
right,
important question.
right. You
Yeah.
can do both sides, but does it build trust? Are we, as in you, the business, are we being consistent and congruent with what we believe in and what we are here to do, what our mission is, right? Um, what you guys, what the business and not inspires. Is it inspires? How do I say that?
Um,
Intends.
yeah, like their goal, like their
Yeah,
intention. Yeah.
yeah. So what the business intends to offer, is that consistent and congruent? And are you guys being consistent? And then lastly, will it foster loyalty? Is what you're doing going to reward people, or is it just going to be all about you?
Yeah.
And on that note, I feel like I'm about to sneeze in a
No,
second.
you're good.
Oh my goodness, sorry.
Bless you.
And on that note, I think it's a good time. It's a good place to reel off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because the last part is I mentioned the loyalty and the mindset that a lot of businesses have, and it's okay. It's okay. You're not a bad person if you do this. By no means am I saying you're a bad person or you are aspiring to be a bad person. But what I'm saying is when you have the thought process that what can the customers do for me, right? That there's no empathy in that. And that doesn't build that's a lack of trust that people have with you. But what I want to encourage businesses to start thinking, or how I want to, what I want to encourage, the thought process I want to encourage for businesses is to start thinking, what can I do for my customers? And it takes work, it takes effort. Where we come in play is to simplify it for you, not make it easy because it's hard work. But if you're willing to do the hard work and figure out what your customers want and then just give them that, then the money will come because the money you're inspired you're is it inspiring or aspiring to
Like
if
if
you're
you're
trying to
aspiring to get something, that's it.
yeah okay
Aspire, yeah.
the money that you're aspiring to make is in everybody else's pockets, but if you adhere to what they want or if you solve the problem that they have in your way, in your unique way, then people will open their wallets for you for
You
sure.
know, yeah. And I think the world is headed towards everything is really kind of backed up to convenience. A lot of things nowadays are people are shooting for convenience, right? Every nowadays you need everything quicker. I mean, you go. 20 years ago, you everything now you can't even do nearly as fast, right? I'm not saying that's the only thing people want,
Yeah.
but a facade that a lot of people can paint on your like other marketing agencies or other people is if you use us, everything is solved like that and you don't have to do any work. And it paints a picture of like you have no work to do. And that's
Yeah.
something that we are like doubling down on. And I guess we're going against the grain on everyone else because yes, we make things more convenient and more a lot simple.
Yeah.
And then for people, obviously, if they're outdated, more efficient and just more efficient in general. But that doesn't mean there's not work
Yeah.
required with that. And that's something that me and you actually learned from our very first client. I don't think will say any names or anything like that
No.
but with our first client, where our biggest mistake we made was setting the standards of what we actually do.
Yeah.
Honestly, we didn't really know what we could and couldn't do,
Yeah.
but
We were bound to make
yeah,
that mistake, you know.
yeah, but we didn't even. But hindsight, looking back, it's like, okay, well, what was a mistake? Okay, we didn't even set any type of foundation. So this business owner was like, oh, okay, you guys are gonna join me, and I'm just gonna become. I'm probably exaggerating, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna make that like hundreds of thousands, maybe, or like a lot more a month, tens of thousands more a month, and just like that. And
Yeah.
but the part that he was missing is he was thinking that, but he did absolutely no work. He wasn't even doing the baseline communication really with us that much. But
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't put any work in to actually make that. He was like, you guys take this problem and then you guys get me money and I don't do anything different. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that we have to take some responsibility there, right?
100%.
You mentioned that we didn't have the experience, which led to us not setting the precedent that, hey, we aren't here to run your business for you. We aren't here to do it all for you because we can't do it. So based on that, I think that other agencies tend to say, this will be your holy grail, and like you said, we're going against the grain, right? But we were there at one point where we were trying to make it be people's holy grails. We were there, but we quickly learned that that isn't fair to us, and it's not fair to the businesses we're working with. Because in order to do something difficult, it takes work. Even when you get efficient at it, you need to do work. The work just gets easier because now you're efficient. You feel me?
Yeah, no, it's
Our
true.
goal, yeah. So our goal with our first, well, our mistake with our first client is that, like I said, we didn't set the precedent that look, we aren't going to solve all your problems. And if it's what I don't remember what the goal was with them, but I would say that a lot of the responsibility was on us to set that precedent, and we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Although we were wishing that he would have changed, because once we realized and we were trying to mention it, it didn't change, but it was our fault for not setting that precedent. But in that, I'm trying to say that we I think here, I don't think we want to overpromise, but we want to be realistic. And being realistic and being as empathetic as possible to say, even to some business, that we aren't a match. We won't be able to help you because you would just waste money for no reason. Or to say to the right person that, well, you can set this standard, but it might take you a while before you see dividends. Because some businesses some businesses have a good foundation already, and you just need to tweak, and some businesses don't. So everybody's different, and our goal is to help as many people as possible, but we know for a fact that we can't help everyone.
Yeah, I was one of the it's funny because our values align with a lot of what I've learned, just also not through experience as well as through the master's degree. I mean, literally one
Yeah.
of our books, Conscious Capitalism, was like, don't focus on the short-term monetary gains or that'll drive you to the ground. And that's something that we
Yep.
found. And I think that was our biggest mistake too, is
Yeah.
now we were like, oh, client, 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 money, 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 client, client,
Yeah.
client, money, money. And then it was much, and then there was not as much relationships established, and there's just a lot we were missing because we were just chasing those monetary gains. Now,
Yeah.
some benefit of the doubt. obviously we were going into like this is our first client. We're gonna learn a lot, but
Yeah,
it's always good to take lessons out of mistakes, and I think
a
that's
thou-
just super crucial. If you're doing pursuing entrepreneurship at all, I mean that's got to be number one on your list. Is realizing mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them.
1,000%.
Yeah,
There's not a thing you can start doing and you do it perfectly. Everybody that is successful went through the pain of making the mistakes, crucial mistakes, right? And when you make mistakes and you think you lose, then you're hurting yourself because mistakes are just a learning moment, right? And when it comes to, and I'm talking about businesses now, when it comes to chasing the sale, that's only normal because you're not running a business to just be nice. Because being, what do you call it? Having empathy doesn't mean free. It doesn't mean give out what you want for what you have for free. That's not what that means. I think our society has taught us that if you're gonna be an empathetic person, you have to give your time for free. Right now, Isaac, I would say, well, let me not use that as an example. A surgeon, although they charge a lot of money, let's say you need a heart surgery, that surgeon is going to charge you a lot of money, but they're not being empathetic because they spent time of their own life to learn how to do this skill so that they could save your life. So in that case, you would just ask questions like, what is your life worth to you? Is it worth $60,000 to pay this person to go in there and save your life? Right? Or you can cheap it, or you can take a cheaper route, find somebody for, I don't know, 20K, and he has a high death rate, right? The person that is more expensive isn't less empathetic. They're actually more empathetic because they took time to become as efficient as possible and be as consistent as possible. Because being a professional means that you show up every day, whether you're sad, whether you're mad, whether you don't even feel like being there, but you show up and you be consistent. Because you wouldn't, if it was about being authentic, right? Because everybody's like, be authentic. If you walked in on your day to get your surgery and you learned that your surgeon had a fight with his wife before he got there, he's angry, he got caught in traffic, he's not having the best of days, you would probably say, hey brother, like, I need you to go cool off before you touch my heart. I need you to chill out. But as a professional, he needs to learn how to put that aside. And I think this is an example I got from Seth Godin, but he also mentioned something like, surgeons don't like love blood, like, because they're like vampires, right? They're just tolerating it because there is more at stake. They need to be a professional in this setting. And I think that he said that surgeons are taught to not have any emotional ties to the people they help, although it's very, very sad, right? Because we as humans, that's very sad. If you see somebody dying and you have to save their lives, it's only natural to want to be emotional. But in your time as as a student, learning how to navigate that role, that's part of that. That's part of your teaching. So they teach you how not to commit to the person emotionally, so that you'll be in the right mind to then do your job and get it done, right? And as a professional, you need to learn how to not be emotional in the moment like that. In their case, and then after you're off the clock, be human, cry. That's
yeah,
fine. So as a business, you need to learn how to be consistent in the moment. Show up every day, do what you say you're going to do, and people are going to not only trust you, but they're going to trust you enough to tell somebody else. And the term I was looking for is being remarkable. And
okay,
being remarkable means being worthy of a remark, right? If I
yeah,
tell you about this business downtown, they left a they left they left a um they left a good impression on me so much that I'm able to run around and remark about them to other people. They have a good strategy. They have a really good strategy, and it's hard to
yeah,
be remarkable. It's really hard to be remarkable because it takes work. Our role is to see if we can simplify that work for you, right? Because it is a lot of work, especially for independent businesses that don't really have the means to get a whole team to focus on stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you already kind of covered it, but tying back to the surgeon example, if the surgeon were to not be consistent, now their stakes are a little higher because they're dealing with people's lives,
Way higher.
but yeah, but if they just aren't as consistent and they do let these things interfere with them, these extraneous factors per se, then their opportunity cost almost, or the cost of being not consistent is a life. Now, if you're not a surgeon, we're not really talking to you anyways if you are a surgeon, but as a business owner, the same thing happens. There's
Yeah,
opportunity.
I just was that's just an example, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah,
very it's a very extreme example, but
exactly.
um it's supposed to illustrate a professional and a very critical professional in a field that if they lack the consistency to show up every day and do their best job, people die,
Yeah.
right? If you're a restaurant owner, that's fine. If you're a plumber, you're not going to kill anyone. But the point is that if you're able to show up every day and be consistent, that's empathy
Here,
because
Kelly.
you're choosing to do that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
We're gonna just pause for a second,
We'll come back.
and then yeah, we'll come back. Sorry about that. So anyways, as we were speaking, I wanted to cover the topic of opportunity costs because this is something that as a business owner, manager, whatever, if you have any stake in the business, you need to be extremely mindful of, and you need to prioritize it more. And when I say opportunity cost, this isn't things just as monetary value. I mean, we've talked earlier about even loss of trust can impact your sales, right? But trust itself is not a monetary value. So these are the opportunity costs that I'm referring to. And I'm going to commit a little bit of a logical fallacy, the slippery slope one, but um, if we're drawing back to the surgeon, right? Their opportunity cost is a lost life. I'm going to say you are somewhat committing the same thing, or you're having the same opportunity cost as a business owner if you're not staying consistent and not adhering and keeping the trust. And because a lost customer, well, that might as well be a lost life to you. I know it's kind of a crazy analogy or thing to make, but I think the point I'm trying to say is if you're not, and it ties back to our values, if you're not able to instill this trust and consistency, your cost of this will be loss of business and loss of customers. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of a tangent, but what do you think on that, Kelly?
That was a very uh um that was just a lot. But
Yeah,
I think on that, I think the best thing I could say about that is um well, let me ask a question. I think this is an old like Chinese saying, but when is the best time to plant a tree?
like what season?
No, when is the best time
Oh,
to have
right
planted
now. Well,
25 years ago?
yeah,
25 years ago was the best time to plant a tree. But what's the second best time to plant a tree?
right now.
Today. So it shows that if you want something, and even God says that the best things come slowly. If you want fast money, it will go just as fast. But if you want something reliable, consistent, and whatever other adjective you can add to that, right? Then you have to do the hard work. And I think that that's something that we're going to continue to say. It's hard work. The fact that you're already running a business or you're starting to run a business, you're either going to learn or you already know that it's not easy to just run a business. It's not. You have to do things when you don't want to do them, you know? And when it comes to marketing, you have to understand that everything that you do that touches the market is marketing, not just social media, not just running ads, not even our strategy or the strategy we help you come up with. the uh, um the product you produce, the service you give, that's all part of your marketing because that shows people who you are and what you stand for. And the more consistent you are in that, standing on something, standing on a principle, saying we do things a certain way here, the more you can be trusted, and then the more loyal customers you can build, then you're building a foundation that's not only sustainable, but it can grow and you can rely on that for a long time, right? Um, yeah. What do
Yeah,
you think
no,
about
I no, yeah, I completely agree.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, that it is it's a really good analogy. I don't know why my brain went to Bitcoin. When was the best time to buy Bitcoin? Back when before it was a thing,
You
but
can use that too. You
yeah,
can
I
use
don't know
that
why
too.
my um but yeah, I mean, just to kind of close this off though, is how would you say just kind of our journey? I know we've talked about in the beginning the things that we did wrong and stuff, but how would you say we've progressed through our journey and like from where we were versus now? And I'll quickly say something I'll let you say, but I think it's standing, we actually set foundation, like a foundation to our business, and we've been more strict to adhering to that rather than just doing where or go following the wind, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like when we first started, we were just going in every single direction, and now we're like we've laser beam, we're focused in, and now we're just sticking in this one direction.
Yeah.
We're yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest change I would say that we've done.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would say when we first started, we were chasing, I would say, trends, but that's not that's not something to be upset over because we didn't know what we were doing. We were
Yeah,
just doing the resources we were looking at, whether it's the videos we were watching, or the blogs we were reading, or the articles we were reading, and the books we were reading. We were just going after what they were telling us that was popular. But as time went on, we made our own inferences that this this isn't really good because we're not actually helping anyone. So we decided to make a change. We decided to change our strategy to say we want to make something worth worthy of a remark. We want to affect and impact the world or impact the people that work with us in a way that's worthy of them remarking about us to other people. And that's when, and the way we do that is when we solve a problem for other people, right?
yeah,
Like I said when we started, our goal is to make money. Don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to make it sound like we're like, we're not here to make, we're here to make a profit. We need to make a living. We're starting this because we want to make a living, take care of our families. But we also notice that we can help ourselves by helping other people. God is a creative being and he created us in his image. So we're creative, not in the same way as God. We can create things out of thin air. We can't speak things into existence. What we can do is use our creativity to create things that help each other, that help make things easier, or that help simplify people's lives, or even our lives. And this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to bring something to the market that not only affects and impacts businesses in a positive manner, but also gives them something that they can rely on and be and it being reliable. So to answer your question, we've changed a lot since the beginning.
yeah,
We've definitely changed a lot, but that was due to the lack of experience. That was due to lack of just not knowing. But and it took us having to do it to know, okay, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be like everybody else. We're gonna focus on we're gonna, like you said, laser beam focus on what we believe is important because we did our fair share of research to say that, or to deem that every every successful business from enterprise even down to even like local level, those that are doing really well, they have a foundation built on those three principles that we mentioned, the
yeah.
TCL. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned this book earlier, The Conscious Capitalism, but one of the authors was the CEO of Whole Foods.
Mhm.
And one of the things that he was saying, it was kind of like pounding in, was the almost the humanistic approach to it, meaning like you need to value these people. His whole reason for doing this business is he was trying to, yes, obviously make money, right? But he was trying to provide good, clean food to people, and that's his goal. And at least in the book, that's what he highlights and is constantly pushing towards. And I think the way we say it is we're customer centric, right? For us, we want to help our customers, whatever we're trying to help them, not just help us. And
Yeah.
that's a value we're trying to instill in them so they can also base their business on that too, right? Because it trickles down, right? Because
Yeah.
they're in the end, they're relying on their customers, so they should be customer centric. And like when they're making decisions in their business, it shouldn't be how can I just benefit,
Yeah.
but at least we agree that it should be okay. What can I do that'll benefit them, which in turn will then benefit me? I think that's kind of the approach that we've kind of taken.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that I would say that we were going for a very empathetical. Is that even a word?
Yeah,
Empathetical?
empathetic. Yeah,
A very empathetic um, uh, direction. We want to solve other people's problems. We believe that's the best way to do it
yeah,
because we both win, right? We get what we want, we can make a living, and then they get what they want, they get their problem solved. And in doing that, we want to also encourage people to also mimic us in that manner of what can I do for my customers? How can I
yeah,
solve a problem for you? Right. But in the unique way that you can solve problems, you know,
yeah.
because everybody's different. Right. And I think I'll let you talk. Sorry about
Oh
that.
no, you're good.
And I think that remembering and having a goal to be remarkable, right? Being worthy of a remark should be your goal because like we believe the word of mouth is the best form of marketing because nothing beats a recommendation from a trusted source.
Yeah,
Being remarkable is the focus. And the way you do that is by doing the basics, setting a foundation based on trust, consistency, and loyalty.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt at all. Yeah, all I was just gonna say, we're this is future topics we'll talk about, like
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to
yeah,
position yourself uniquely and
yeah,
like what does it mean to be remarkable, or like how can you even start trying to achieve that? Like these are things that we'll talk about, at least from our experience, even with guests, possibly. The referrals thing is kind of a tag back as well to our very first. This is the first podcast, but the very first thing. But yeah, so I that was just kind of I was just saying you might have a lot of questions now, but we're going to get to these in this. Yeah, so if you have questions, that's okay. Feel free to comment them or reach out even to us. But also, these are future topics that we're going to talk about. We have a lot that we want to talk about, and we could talk for hours. So it's going to be fun to keep doing that. Kelly,
yeah.
you said you had one more point. Did we cover it?
Yeah,
Or
I
oh,
covered it.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, in saying that, we want this. My goal for the for our podcast is to be as much as we can help it to be as actionable as possible, right? Because we don't want to gatekeep anything. If we know something will help, we want to give it. We want to just put it into the market. If you deem it worthy and doable by yourself, by all means, please implement it and reap the benefits. But we believe that there are some business owners that are just too busy. They don't have the time. And if you feel like you don't have the time and you want to explore what we could do for you, then please feel free to contact us. I'm assuming Isaac will link the website somewhere, and you can go and contact us there. You can DM us, but we want to make this as actionable as possible, meaning that everything we talk about will do our best to add a way you can take a step in that direction by yourself. But if
Yeah.
you don't know how to do that, or you don't know how to get to that endpoint, because it could be that you might know what you want, but you don't know how to get there. I think we can be of good use.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like what we tell people is we're not claiming we're going to be experts at your business, right? We, in the restaurants, we're not the expert chefs. We're not the ones making the food, but something that we are claiming to be is very knowledgeable in this marketing aspect that we've kind of described
yeah,
to help you reach these goals that you would want to reach.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we're reaching the end now.
Yeah,
So we have a lot to talk about. So I guess as a send off, I would say don't forget to be remarkable. Focus on the fundamentals, and let's get back to the basics.
proud to do the basics, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Well, I can't wait to see you in the next one.
Yes. Bye bye.